What's going on, guys? Sharpshot here. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. So today's video will be ranking all 20 of Xenomorph's add-ons. Quickly before we get into the rankings, I'm going to be giving some list conditions. I'm going to be ranking these in order of rarity, so starting with the brown common rarities and going all the way up to the red iridescent rarity. And when ranking each add-on, I would be considering it as if it was ran alone and separate from any other add-on combos, so it was just running that singular add-on. And I'm also going to be assuming that this is from an average killer's POV. So they aren't the rank 1 top MMR gods of DBD, but they also aren't absolute noobs. So they know what they're doing in the trial and know what they should be doing in order to win and get a 4K in a DBD trial. And the way the tiering is going to work, S tier is obviously going to be the best tier, with D tier being the worst one. And in each tier level, going from left to right, they'll be in order from best to worst as well. When considering where to put each add-on, the rarity of that add-on will also be considered into that ranking. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the rankings. Starting with Ripley's watch, this one is going to go into C tier. When a turret burns the Xenomorph and removes it from the runner mode, it'll automatically destroy that turret. This will save you 1 second in a chase from having to destroy the turret once it burns you. So it isn't super good value and really only saves you an M1 hit. Obviously, getting out of the runner mode is a bad thing, and this perk doesn't really help you avoid that, so that's why it's in C tier. The Ovomorph is going to go into B tier. Your runner mode will charge 25% faster when you're outside of a tunnel, and as a Xenomorph, you always want to charge back your runner mode as fast as possible, and you do that in the tunnel. But this add-on could be pretty useful if you're stuck in a chase, for example, and you don't want to leave. When you're outside of a tunnel, the runner mode charges in 35 seconds, so running this with this add-on will save you 8.75 seconds, ultimately letting you get your runner mode back in 26 seconds, which could save you a good amount of time in chases by being able to get your ranged M1 back that much faster. The drinking bird is going to go into D tier. Your killer instinct when exiting a tunnel will be increased by 2 seconds. The killer instinct is originally 3 seconds when you exit a tunnel, so bringing this up to 5 seconds, you aren't gaining any additional information from having it be 5 seconds instead of 3, and all of the information you would have gotten at 3 seconds you're still going to get at 5 seconds, so that extra 2 seconds has really no impact, which is why it's in D tier and it's pretty bad. Cereal Rations is going to be in B tier and above Ovomorph as the best common add-on. The turret's auras are visible when you're inside of a tunnel, and when you exit them they stay visible for an extra 3 seconds. Turrets are your biggest enemy as Xenomorph, so being able to see where they are will allow you to prepare yourself and not be caught off guard by the camera locations. So you'll be able to stay inside of your really important runner mode that much better because you'll know where all of the cameras are in the map. But it is only in B tier because cameras aren't that difficult to counter, and once you gain a little bit of awareness as a Xenomorph, seeing their aura is going to be a little bit excessive. Moving on to the uncommon rarity add-ons, and starting with the light one, this is going to go into D tier. The downtime of turrets is increased by 1 second when you exit a tunnel. At base, when you exit a tunnel, the turrets are disabled for 3 seconds, so this just brings it up to 4 seconds. The downtime is short enough that this extra second won't make an impact at all. If the turret is close enough to the tunnel exit, you'll be able to destroy it in 3 seconds. But if it was way further out, that extra second of downtime is not enough for you to be able to reach it. So either way, if it's close or far, increasing that by 1 second is useless, which is why it's in D tier. Lambert's star map is going to be in A tier. The flame distance of turrets will be decreased by 2 meters. And at base, this is 10 meters, so it brings it down to 8 meters, which makes countering the turrets and being able to hit them a little bit more manageable. And like I said earlier, turrets are your biggest enemies, so an add-on that lets you manage and counter those a little bit easier is really good, which is why it's an A tier. Brett's cap is going to go at the back of C tier. When you destroy a turret, all survivors within 16 meters of it will suffer from the blind status effect for 25 seconds. In a trial, you'll probably get a few people with this add-on and inflict the blindness status effect, but when the survivors are within 16 meters of that destroyed turret, it also means that they're going to be 16 meters away from you, and you're most likely going to start a chase with them. So when you're inside of a chase with them, the blind status effect isn't going to hinder them whatsoever. This will really only counter windows of opportunity, which isn't that big of a deal. So in the grand scheme of things, inflicting the blind status effect on a few survivors per trial isn't that good, which is why it's in C tier. The crew headset is going to go into D tier. The range of footstep detections inside the tunnels is increased by 6 meters. The base range that you can detect footsteps is 16 meters, which is already pretty big. So bringing this up to 20 22 meters actually works against you, because your range will be so big that you're going to be seeing footsteps that are so far away from the tunnel exits that it'll just end up confusing you, and you'll be seeing footsteps that you think are close to tunnel exits when in reality they're super far away. So messing with your footstep range isn't to your advantage at all, which is why it's in B tier. Hash's innards are going to be in B tier, right in between the common add-ons. The add-on description is pretty vague, but at base it takes 60 seconds for a turret to respawn, but with this add-on it takes 70 seconds, so it's an extra 10 seconds. Turrets are your biggest counter, so having them take longer to respawn means you have to deal with them less, but it is only in B tier because the timer already is really long, and that extra 10 seconds isn't going to be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, so it's good, but it isn't really good. Moving on to the rarity add-ons, with Parker's Headband, we got our first one in S tier. You get a bonus 5% haste status effect when exiting a tunnel for 3 seconds. As a 4.6 killer, you're already pretty fast, so being able to be 5% faster every time you exit a tunnel will allow you to catch up to any survivors you see with the killer instinct that had ran away when they see you pop out of that tunnel. So it'll basically nullify the distance that survivors gain once they see you go into your exit tunnel animation, which is really strong because you get it every single time you exit a tunnel. The Multipurpose Hatchet will go into A tier after the uncommon add-on. Survivors you hit with your tail attack will suffer from the hemorrhage status effect. You'll be getting consistent value with this add-on because it only takes a tail attack, and you should be hitting survivors with that a lot. So ideally, any survivor you get into a chase with, they're gonna have the hemorrhage status effect leaving it, and the hemorrhage status effect is pretty strong in allowing you to track survivors easier because they leave more pools of blood. Healing progress is removed by 7% every second, so if you're pressuring them, it'll basically reset their healing progress, which is pretty good. But it didn't quite crack the S tier because it is only the hemorrhage status effect, and it really isn't a big game changer to your power itself, but it is still very solid. Molted Skin is gonna go into D tier. It's actually gonna be the worst add-on out of all of them. After survivors deploy a turret, they suffer from the exhaustion and the hinder status effect for 3 seconds, which is absolutely useless because whenever a survivor places down a turret, they're gonna be nowhere near a killer anyways, so they literally just wait out 3 seconds and then they're back to normal, which doesn't affect the trial whatsoever. And even if a survivor was near you when they placed it, then you're just gonna be able to get a free hit anyways because it takes a little bit to put down a turret. So this add-on is absolutely terrible. Do not run it. Kane's helmet. Whoa. Kane's helmet is going to go into A tier. It's going to be slightly better than the Multipurpose Hatchet. It does a very similar thing to the Hatchet where if you hit a survivor with a tail attack, instead of giving a hemorrhage, it gives the mangled status effect. In my opinion, the mangled status effect alone is a little bit better than the hemorrhage because it just makes it so that it takes 25% longer to heal. Hemorrhage can be better if you are pressuring the survivors that are healing, but in reality, survivors are going to be healing away from you without any pressure, so having them take 25% longer will just take them away from gens and other objectives for a little bit longer. But for the same reasons as the Hatchet, it is only an A tier because on its own, Mangle doesn't affect your power that much better, so it is only an A tier, but it's still a very solid value add-on. The Emergency Helmet is going to be at the back of A tier. Your resistance to turrets is increased by 35%. At base, you have 1.5 seconds of resistance to the flames before you get stunned out of your runner mode, but with this add-on it's increased to around 2 seconds. So in my opinion, it's still an A tier because being able to counter the turrets is still really strong, but it's slightly worse than reducing the range of the turrets from Lambert's map because it is only a 0.5 second difference between the base stun time, whereas in the PTB it was doubled at 3 seconds, so it did receive a nerf, and it also is 1 rarity higher. So the range reduction of the turrets from Lambert's map is going to be slightly better and cheaper to put on your build more consistently than the Emergency Helmet now. Moving on to the very rare rarity add-ons, the Semiotic Keyboard is going to go at the top of C tier. Generators within 16 meters of a placed turret have their intensity auras revealed, which basically means you're going to be able to visually see how progressed that generator is. Turrets will usually be placed near generators anyways, so you're going to be able to see the intensity aura of most generators with this add-on, and it can be pretty useful if you had absolutely no idea a generator was getting worked on, bad, but in a trial, the average killer will know somewhat what generators are being worked on and which ones aren't. You don't really need to see the visual aura of them, and you can probably just hear them from under the tunnels anyways. So this is just a little bit of excessive information, which is why it's in C tier. The Self-Destruct Bolt is going to go in S tier and is actually going to be the best add-on that Xenomorph has. It increases the vaulting speed by 30% when you're in runner mode. You're going to want to be in runner mode for as much of the trial as possible because it gives you your ranged M1. So being able to vault 30% faster while you also have a ranged M1 is going to be super strong. And windows are obviously a big counter to any killer in chases. So mitigating that and being able to vault that much faster is a really big deal and makes your power that much better in runner mode, which will ultimately let you end chases that much faster. The Harpoon Gun is going to go into B tier right in front of the Ovomorph add-on. When you hit a survivor within 10 seconds of exiting a tunnel, all of the survivors outside a 24-meter range of you scream and reveal their aura. This is basically like an infectious fright, and it can give you a good idea of where survivors are and if they're working on gens or healing or whatnot. But at the end of the day, you do only get it when you hit a survivor within 10 seconds of exiting a tunnel, which won't happen too often. And not only that, most likely they're going to be going from healthy to injured, and you're going to want to keep going into chasing that survivor because any other survivor that you see outside a 24-meter range of you is going to be way too far to leave your chase for. So it's good information to know where people are, but not to start other chases, which is why it's in B tier. The cat carrier is going to go into C tier right behind the Semiotic Keyboard. When a turret disables the runner mode, you gain the undetectable status effect for 20 seconds. The turrets are really loud when they go off, so any survivor near there will also hear you scream if it deactivates it. And if they were close enough and you start a chase with them anyways, the undetectable status effect will maybe get you an extra hit where the survivor isn't expecting it if they had their LOS hidden from you. But at the end of the day, it is in C tier because this add-on doesn't really help you avoid getting out of your runner mode, which is the biggest priority. And the undetectable status effect for any survivors near that turret when it happened isn't that big of a deal. So that's why it's not a really good add-on. Moving on to the ultra rare rarity add-ons or the iridescent ones, the Improvised cattle prod is going to go into the middle of B tier. Every time a generator is completed for the next 15 seconds, survivors who go within 10 meters of a tunnel exit will have their aura revealed to you for the next 15 seconds. So although this is pretty decent aura information and it's basically like a dark sense, it has the same problem that dark sense has in the sense that you're going to be seeing the auras when you might not necessarily need it. So seeing a survivor on a gen that popped across the map isn't really that useful of information, but the auras could sometimes come in handy if you're in between chases and you don't know where other survivors are. At the same time, you don't see the aura of all the survivors. You only see them if they come near any of the exit tunnels. So sometimes you might not even get value out of this. And being an ultra rare rarity, these are super hard to come by in the blood webs. So if you're going to be using this, you want it to be very good, and it's not really very good, and why it's only in B tier. Finally, the acidic blood is going to go in between the two add-ons in S tier. This is an ultra rare rarity add-on that is a game changer and is actually super good in improving your power, where if you exit a tunnel while in runner mode for the next 20 seconds, if any survivor stuns you, they lose a health state. So they either go from the healthy down to the injured, or if they were already injured, they just go into getting mended. So this is a really good add-on for two reasons. In the beginning of the trial, when the survivors don't know you have this, you can get purposefully pallet stun and get some easy health states off. But you might think, oh, well, later in the trial, once they do know this, they won't ever pallet stun you and you won't get any value out of this. That exact mind game is why this add-on is actually still really strong, because when you exit a tunnel in that 20-second period, it'll force the survivors to either pre-drop pallets and end that loop way faster, or you can always lean into the pallets, because if you get pallet stun, it'll let them lose a health state, and if they don't drop it and try and mind game it, then you'll just be able to keep going and get an easy M1. So this will allow you to get that first hit in a chase really fast and really easily, so it's super strong. Not to mention, if you do combo this with Spirit Fury, you're going to be able to get a one shot down super fast, because they'll pallet stun you, the pallet will break, and you'll be able to get a quick M1 right after to down them, which is really funny. So yeah, guys, those were all the Xenomorph add-ons ranked. And quickly before I end the video, I just want to give 3 add-on combos that actually are really good with the Xenomorph. The best add-on combo in my opinion is running Acidic Blood and Parker's Headband together. That'll be really good to be able to get to those survivors survivors to then have them pallet stun you that much faster. The second one is slightly cheaper in running the Self-Destruct Bolt and Parker's Headband. That'll be a really good speedy add-on in allowing you to be basically super speed when you exit the tunnels and also being able to vault really fast. And then finally, you can use the 2 greens of the Kane's helmet and the Multipurpose Hatchet. If you combo these 2 together, it'll basically be Sloppy Butcher. And overall, his add-ons are pretty decent. Anything above B tier, in my opinion, is pretty decently worth running. So you can make a ton of add-on combos with them, and actually comment below any of your favorite add-on combos with Xenomorph's add-ons you've found in game, which can help out some other viewers looking for some good add-on combos. So yeah guys, that's been the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. This has been Sharpshot, and I will see you guys in the next video.